Hello YouTube, welcome to today's video. In today's video we are going to be spectating a gold Kha Zix player that has 3 million master points on Kha Zix. And I'll basically explain what this player is doing good and bad. And if this guy ends up watching the video, then maybe we can get him back into Plat, because he was season 11 Plat 3. So he plays on the West, he's at the moment gold 2. With 37 wins, 54 losses, which equals a 41% win rate overall. And he has 82 games on Kha Zix with a 43% win rate overall. As you can see, the guy has very close to 3 million master points, just 2 or 3 more games and he will have it. And I have found a game, which is this game right here, that he ends up winning with the score of 18, 13, and 7, where he plays Kha Zix into ekko matchup. And this is the game that I'll be going through. It is a very long game, so be prepared for a very long video. But yeah, that's basically the introduction to this guy. So isolated in fear is the IGN of this guy. We start off with this 80 carry DCing. That's a bit unfortunate, but hopefully he comes back. And he walks into top side. 80 carry is back, so now it's 5v5 again. He is invading enemy red buff level 1. It's going in all by himself. This is a little bit too risky. So what I don't like about this play is the fact that he's going in all by himself without the gangplank. If he was going with gangplank, he could feel a little bit more safe. But yeah, he starts on enemy red buff, which is pretty good because ekko level 1 will start W. So if ekko was here, he would not be strong in terms of fighting. But Riven, on the other hand, who plays with Flash and Ignite, is really strong level 1. So that's kind of the downside. But I think this is overall pretty good. And here's the ekko. And ekko will have the W. He starts with auto Q. We get a flash from the ekko, and then we shouldn't chase anymore. There is the ekko W. Personally, I would have waited until either ekko stepped into the bush or for him to do the red buff down to about like 800 HP before doing this, just for the chance of being able to smite the red buff, get level 2, and then potentially flashing onto the ekko afterwards or Eing onto him and get first blood. But yeah, not a bad start. He gets the red buff and flash from ekko, meaning that he is up by 1 jungle camp. He then does his blue buff. We'll just speed this up in the early game because there's not too much to talk about. I will slow it down again eventually. Kites the blue buff, smites the Grump. Will he then level 3 gank? No, he will just keep on clearing. Clears the wolves. Kites the wolves really well actually. Jumps over the wall to raptors. Clears the raptors, goes to his red buff. ekko hasn't taken the red buff, so yeah, Kha Zix just gets to do 1 jungle camp more. See ekko ganking bot, he doesn't really follow just yet, finishes the red buff and then he goes. Gets the kill onto ekko, flashes to try and chase down the Nautilus, gets another flash. Not too bad, personally I would have skipped my red buff to then get to bot lane instantly. Ganks mid lane, gets a free kill onto the Kai'Sa, pretty good. Helps the Victor push, because Victor doesn't have mana. Helps him push another wave, because Victor still doesn't have mana. This is good. Doesn't really help him push it in fully, so that's kind of bad. Takes the top scuttle. Goes to the Grump as well, and then he should clear wolves, and then he should reset. And he has a really big recall here. Yeah, so here I would take the wolves, and then after wolves, then I could just path straight into bot side and play for the dragon. Because right now he has 1 top side camp up and 2 bot side camps up, so no matter how he will clear here, it's gonna be a bit awkward. But He does end up recalling and gets a Serrated Dirk and a Warhammer. He goes straight into bot because he sees Ekko ganking. Skips his jungle camps to also go ahead and gank. This is good. We get the kill onto the Ekko. Get a kill onto the Nautilus as well. See Kai'Sa rotating. Here there's no point in fighting the Kai'Sa because she's level 6 and you're not. He does get the ulti though. Eventually ends up killing it because Kai'Sa doesn't know how isolation works. Personally, I wouldn't have been fighting that. I would rather just have taken Dragon or been farming. He then sees Ekko on bot, so he invades the red buff again, steals that away. Pretty good. Sees that the Raptors spawn soon. Take the Raptors as well. I would leave one of the small Raptors up here. He leaves 2 up, that's also fine. Sees that Riven is pushing. Kills the Gangplank. Here I will just focus on getting the farm, because clearing this minion wave will give just as much gold as killing the Riven here. Does end up killing the Riven in the end, but as I said, I would rather have just farmed the wave, because it would give same amount of gold, and then I would use my ult and or flash in a situation coming up. Because now if there is a situation in the next 4 minutes where he could have flashed away, then he essentially just wasted flash for no reason, right? Ekko takes the dragon, so what I think that Kha Zix should do here is he should just quickly farm, maybe gank bot lane because they're fighting right now, but besides that, just farm up and play towards the Rift Herald. Ekko ends up ganking bot lane. Kha Zix goes and ganks after. Gets a flash. Kills the Jinx. Okay. He does have his Prowlers right now, and he has Tier. Personally, what I would recommend is, because he's going Q Evolve, I would recommend going either Duskblade or Eclipse. In this situation, I don't think Eclipse is bad, because if you need help dueling the Riven and or dealing a little bit more damage onto Nautilus, or you could go Duskblade and just straight up one-shot the Kai'Sa and the Jinx. So yeah, I would recommend a different mythic item, and then I wouldn't recommend going a Tier, due to the fact that Tier and Kha Zix into more mana is good for scaling, but in this game I don't think we need scaling, due to the fact that we have a Gangplank, we have Victor, we have Vayne. I think we have enough scaling overall, so I would rather build just raw AD, be able to buy like an extra longsword, or even 2 longswords. So here Kha Zix ends up dying. Let me actually go back and see. He starts the Rift Herald. We don't really have vision of anyone. We see the Ekko and Kai'Sa here. Then Riven goes here. And yeah, he just ends up getting CC'd and dies. He should just have E'd a bit earlier. Or again, as we talked about, use Flash here in this situation. He would have been out. And then, yeah, also for boots, then here I would definitely go plated steel caps, because there are many AD champions. He ends up going Mercs. It's good for Nautilus and the Ekko. I just don't think that Ekko CC is something that Kha Zix should be hit by in this game. And the Riven CC is kinda not that long, so it's mostly for the Nautilus. So what I personally would have done, I would have done plated steel caps with an Edge of Night. So the Edge of Night could be used for blocking that Nautilus ulti, for example, or Nautilus hook. Most likely it'll be Nautilus hook, but yeah, that's what I would have done. Here he can't really fight the Riven, so just play it slow, keep on farming. We flash Prowler's Claws onto the Riven here, and ends up dying. Reason why he dies is because he doesn't have ulti, and he's down many levels. So yeah, this was really bad. Investing both your flash and Prowlers into just straight up dying, giving the Riven even more gold. You do eventually kill Riven, but yeah, overall it is a pretty bad play. So yeah, if he had ulti, I think this play would be okay. I personally wouldn't have invested my flash for a kill onto Riven. I would just kind of play it slow, keep on farming. And then I also think that Serpent's Fang in this game is really good, because Nautilus has his W that gives shield, Kai'Sa has her ulti, Ekko has his W, and Riven has her E. So they have 4 different shields, so I think Serpent's Fang in this game is really good as the second item. So probably the build that I would go this game, either Eclipse or Duskblade into a Serpent's Fang, into potentially an Edge of Night, is what I would have went for. He's looking to invade the enemy blue buff. This is quite risky because we don't really have vision of enemy bot lane and our support is dead, but he goes for it regardless. So getting the blue buff for free. Gets away. Spots the Ekko on bot side jungle here. Takes away the control on Dragon. And then he shouldn't quite start it just yet. He should play it a little bit slower, due to the fact that his support is not quite here. Q smite it here. Does end up getting it with an auto smite. Personally, I would have kept on autoing to about 1100, 1200 HP and then Q smite it. Because it lived at 912 HP and then he autoed to them be in smite range, but yeah. Ends up working out regardless. And he is buying another Serrated Dirk, which in my opinion should be built into a Serpent's Fang, but I don't think he built Serpent's Fang this game. And then now I would just focus on farming to level 11. Goes onto the Jinx here, pretty nice kill. Maybe also kill the Nautilus here. Nah, now he will lose his isolation damage. Never mind, he kills it with Seraph. Pretty good, picks up a double kill. And he's now level 10. So here he could walk into enemy bot side jungle. See if Ekko has done blue and... or not blue and Grump and wolves. So he goes in now. Grump hasn't been taken, so he takes that. Pretty good. Just waiting for the enemy bot lane to show back in bot lane so that he can kill them. Personally, I would just have went wolves here first, due to the fact that the wave will crash into the tower, so I would just take the wolves and then look for a play on bot lane or just straight up reset. Ekko shows on top side. God, he's kind of wasting a lot of time here just doing absolutely nothing. Fine, uses the blast cone. Finds the Jinx here. Does end up killing it with Seraph. First I would just have ulted for extra movement speed and gotten the kill myself, but this is what it is. Take the wolves. Could have left one of the small wolves up so that the camp doesn't respawn, but that's fine. He fails the E over the wall, which is unfortunate. And then now I would reset because I simply have so much gold. He has 2200 gold, so he should not look to fight anymore. He should reset first and then fight. Yeah, he should reset now. Which he doesn't do, he greets. Gets level 11 here, and here he should evolve his W. See what he ends up evolving. Hasn't evolved anything just yet, which is a bit weird. Here we should not look to fight, because we have a ton of gold right here that we would like to spend. And he ends up fighting. And dies because of it. So, yeah. The issue here is just fighting with 2.5k gold is really, really bad. He should just have reset long time ago, before even doing the Raptors, and then he should just have cleared one jungle camp, hit level 11, then look to fight, or potentially just do the Rift Herald. But yeah, he ends up buying an Edge of Night. Personally, I think Serpent's Fang first, and then Edge of Night would have been better. But he does go another double longsword, so we'll see if he builds another Serrated Dirk into a lethality item. He ends up evolving his E, so he's going for the old school Kha Zix playstyle, which I think is pretty bad. Because I think you will end up baiting yourself into a situation where you are just going to jump into the enemy team and then get CC'd by Nautilus auto attack or a Q. And then, yeah, just end up dying, so... W evolve is just a lot more consistent, will help you win team fights a lot more, and is good both from behind and even and if you're ahead, whereas E evolve second is only good when you're ahead, and can actually also end up throwing you the game, because you most likely are having shutdowns, shutdown bounties, and he's already given a couple of them. One to Riven and one where he died here in bottom brush of mid lane. And he doesn't have a shutdown as of right now, but I could imagine that he will get a bounty built up again soon. And then potentially he will end up throwing going 1 for 1 or 0 for 1. Yeah. Here I would just go onto Dragon, because potentially Jinx ulti can steal it, potentially Kai'Sa W can steal. Here he does a really bad E and ends up in him dying. I wouldn't have been here in the first place. I would just take the dragon and then kind of look for a fight somewhere else where we have more vision or they're spread out a bit more, rather than going into 4 members with no vision and them being grouped up. Yeah, he's just dead now, so let's speed it up. He ends up buying Warhammer, which I could imagine would be into his more mana. But he hasn't his tier stacked just yet. It is only at 250 stacks, so I think it's a little bit early to already go for a Warhammer, but we'll see. And he leaves space, goes to bot side jungle and clears the red buff. Then a fight is happening in mid lane that he joins. Pretty good that he's skipping the raptors to potentially look for something in mid. Uses ulti into E, pretty clean. Gets a double kill here, pretty nice. E's right back into the Nautilus, that is pretty bad. I would have E'd over the Raptor wall, so that Nautilus cannot get a hook or an auto attack onto me. And this is what I was talking about, that if Kha Zix does a really bad E, which in this situation end up doing after getting some resets, he's E'ing straight into the Nautilus, and then Jinx gets that shutdown and ends up giving 600 gold over to the Jinx. So he ended up giving the same amount of gold to the enemy team as he just got himself. So that's why I'm not a big fan of E-Evolve second. Guy coming out of base again. He has now completed his more mana, but it's still not fully stacked yet, so that's a bit pointless. Personally, I would only go, as I said, more mana in situations where I need to scale, which I don't think he needs in this game. And then I'd only upgrade from tier to more mana by the time I have 360 stacks. So basically tier fully stacked, which he does not have in this situation. I think having a Serpent's Fang is much more important here and will help basically win team fights and getting kills much more. And I also think W Evolve would be way better, because just the utility from W is really, really broken. A fight is happening here in mid lane. This is kind of awkward for Kha Zix to be fighting. He kind of wants to play around Fog of War, so he kind of wants to flank, kind of want to move into bushes or go from behind, go from the side. He doesn't really like to stand in front of his opponent, showing himself, because that makes him very predictable. So he goes into the side bush here. It is pretty good for a flank. Goes onto the Nautilus, because he was low on HP. Gets a reset, not bad. Comes straight into the Jinx, so his E gets interrupted, so it doesn't kill the Ekko, so that's quite unfortunate. There's an Ekko here, he can jump onto him because Ekko doesn't have ult. So he does end up getting the kill as well. And then now I would look to reset and play towards the dragon, because if they can get the third dragon, then they're on soul point, and then they can potentially play for soul in 6 minutes from now. So yeah, instead of looking for more kills without having ult, without having prowlers, I would just realize, okay, I don't really have anything up to guarantee a kill right now, so let me just reset with the gold that I have. And he goes for another serrated dirk. Hopefully this builds into the Serpent's Fang that I was talking about. I don't remember which items he went for this game. Dragon fight coming up. Kha Zix jumping onto the Riven here. Now he's in a really bad situation, has to flashes straight into the Ekko and ends up dying. And again, the situation where if you don't have your E, you don't have a way of escaping really, and he ends up just, yeah, flashing right into the Ekko and ends up dying. Yeah, again a situation where he ends up baiting himself with the E evolve into the enemy team and ends up dying because of it. But the fight ends up going somewhat even, and neither team took the dragon, so Kha Zix ends up respawning and starts the dragon. Gets the dragon and puts his team on soul point, which is pretty good. So now they're just one Drake from having Ocean Soul. One of the stronger souls in the game. And then now I would just... What I would do is I would just make sure the enemy team can't sneak the Baron, because they have quite a bit of Baron damage with Kai'Sa and Jinx. So make sure that the enemy team cannot take the Baron by simply warding it. And then if they start it, we contest it. And then not look to start the Baron ourselves unless if we get like 1 or 2 free kills. And then simply look to play the game slow and play for the soul that's coming up in 4.5 minutes from now. And then once you have soul, then you can basically play towards the Baron. If you then get the Baron, then you can start looking to push and end the game. But we don't have any vision onto the Baron, and that results in enemy team securing the Baron, which is pretty bad for us. So now we can try and look to force a fight here. Does end up getting a flash. Will eventually kill this Ekko here. He jumps into Fog of War. Trying to catch the Jinx, but he realizes he can't. Maybe they can kill the Nautilus here. No, he's not looking for Nautilus. He's looking for someone else. Finds the Riven here. Kills the Riven, but ends up dying once again. Arguably this time it was worth it due to the fact that Riven will most likely split push, and this basically allows Kha Zix to remove 1 Baron buff from the enemy team, so they have 1 Baron buff less. So I think this death was okay. I don't think it was the worst, but obviously it wasn't game changing whatsoever or really good for the Kha Zix. So Kha Zix is coming out of base, and he has went for a Ghost Blade, which I don't think is that good here. Based in patch 12.8, anytime you'd normally go for a Ghost Blade, you typically now go Umbral Glaive, due to the fact it's such a gold efficient item now. So yeah, as I said, Serpent's Fang I think would have been better, and then after that, probably Serilda's Grudge. But if he wants to do the Ghost Blade, then he should just have done Umbral Glaive instead, due to the fact that it will help him flank a lot more easily, and he gets really good stats for a pretty cheap item compared to the Ghost Blade. Here we have him fight in mid lane. We can't really fight it due to the fact we don't have Vayne. Kha Zix is jumping in with the E and ends up dying. And as I said, once again, he's baiting himself in with the E evolve. He uses E to go in, enemy team reacts to it because they have vision of him. And then he ends up dying, and they lose the fight. And enemy team can now push for free with the Baron buff. Already got 1 tower, is gonna get a 2nd tower. Are gonna get a 3rd tower. Are gonna get an inhib as well. Kha Zix is coming out of base here. Has he bought anything? Not really. And now we have the soul coming up, which is pretty good for Kha Zix if he can get it. Can be basically game changing. Sees the Kai'Sa ultis to try and chase it, but Kai'Sa is too far away for him to reach, so now he has wasted his ult. And now he doesn't have the ulti for the Drake fight, which is pretty bad. Here I would simply just look to start the Drake. I don't want to fight the enemy here because we have 2 players in base. Kha Zix once again dies. Stepping up way too far, he's not respecting the nodless CC. And then fight ends up breaking out and the team ends up securing the Drake, which is pretty good, but not good from Kha Zix overall. And then now, what I would do is I would look to try and get that Baron buff, and then if you can get the Baron buff, you can basically put yourself in a situation where you can push to end by simply getting bot inhib or top inhib combined with the mid inhib that is already down, and then basically end. So yeah, look to play towards the next Baron that is spawning. Try and farm up to level 16. I think level 16 is really important so that you can finally get your W evolve, because you didn't do it at level 11 as you're supposed to. The team is fighting on bot side. Kha Zix can't really join it. Personally, you can either farm your jungle camps to get closer to level 16 or push top lane to get another tower to get more gold for the team. Both options would be fine, in my opinion. Starting Baron is really bad here because they have vision of you and we are 2 versus 4 right now. So yeah, going for Baron here is complete flip and there's no point in doing that. But they are committing to the flip. And it ends up being stolen by Kai'Sa W because Kha Zix didn't Q-smite the Baron properly. So that allows the enemy team to stall the game even further. You can actually put the enemy team in a situation where they can end if they break the top inhib. Or it can push all the way into bottom inhib here. Now Kha Zix should really focus on getting level 16 because there's nothing up on the map in terms of jungle objectives. So just farm up, get level 16. Now he's fine level 16, hopefully he evolves the W now. And he ends up evolving his ulti, so he has absolutely no utility and he just wasted his ulti because he failed upgraded. So yeah, not good at all. Because it will only make the team fights harder not having utility from the Kha Zix W. And then, yeah, last item should probably be a Cereal's Grudge due to the fact that they have double hourglass and they have armor on the Nodless. And they also have armor on Riven. So 4 armor champions, then Cereal's Grudge would be really good with that. You flash Prowler's Claws to the Jinx. Can't quite kill it because no isolation damage, unfortunately. Just looking for the Jinx once again. Does end up killing it this time. And ends up getting away. Pretty clean. Not game changing, but was a pretty clean kill. Here he should not look to engage because they're not isolated here. Waiting patiently, this is good. Good patience. No, this is not really the champion we want to go on to. Kai'Sa we don't really want to go on to because she has crown. So we want to proc the crown first and then go. Misses the W, so he does no damage onto Kai'Sa with his auto Q. If he hit the W and then waited for crown to expire and then jumped, I believe he could have killed and gotten away. But once again, misplayed and uses the E to go in and ends up dying because of that. Enemy team gets a mid inhib. Now Kha Zix is alive and he went for an LDR. Okay, I don't think LDR is that good here because they don't have that much HP. Kha Zix uses E straight into the enemy team and dies because of it. So yeah, not a surprise. I've seen that before. Kha Zix is now once again dead for the 11th time this game. Coming out of base, but enemy team gets the Elder Dragon, which means that now they can't fight the enemy team. So they have to wait for the Elder Dragon to expire before they can look for a fight. Can't really fight here, so they have to try and just clear the wave over and over again. Serv is doing some pretty good poke here. Ends up missing 5 ultis in a row, that's a bit unfortunate, but they're just trying to clear the wave over and over. This is pretty good. Avoid fighting at all costs. And just keep on clearing. Kha Zix jumps in, can't really kill the Ekko here. Gonna look to jump onto Jinx here. Nope. Now Vayne is alive. Elder should soon be expired, and then they can play towards the Baron. And if then they get Baron, then they can stall until mid and top inhib is back up. If they lose the Baron, then enemy team can just end by going 5-man bot lane. Enemy team is looking to start the Baron buff. Just the Baron. Don't really have any vision on it, so we have to face check, which is pretty bad. Sees that Jinx is not on it, sees Ekko's not on it, so they're no longer on the Baron. Flashes away, pretty good. Get a kill onto the Riven, and we know that they're not on Baron, so that should stop them from being able to take Baron. Alex jumps in, ends up not getting the reset, and because of that he ends up dying once again, baiting himself in with the E-evolve. Does end up selling any items? No, he just keeps on going with the same items here. Team is looking to start the Baron, because it's a 5v4. Alex is going in here. Doesn't quite kill the Jinx, but Seraph ends up sniping it. Alex ends up dying. It ends up being worth. It ends up being 2 for 1, meaning that his team can hopefully take the Baron, which they do. And now we have Elder coming up soon. So this could potentially be the game-deciding fight. Gangplank does have TP, so he could join his team. Good W from Kha Zix, checking the bush instead of face checking it. No longer have vision onto the Drake right now. We will get vision now with the Gangplank ulti. Like steps onto the Jinx trap, which is not too good. Looking to kill the Jinx here. Trying to snipe her, but it doesn't succeed. Here I would focus on getting the dragon rather than focusing on getting a good flank or something. Looking for kills. Does end up one-shotting Kai'Sa because she laid exhaust, and then they end up winning the fight and winning the game. So I will say overall, I would probably have changed every single thing here. I would have changed the build, I would change the evolution order, I would have changed possibly also the runes. I think the runes are okay, but I believe going domination first with setup that I recommend is a lot better. And also just a lot of like the ways that he's playing the team fights, like he is just using his E and then ends up getting killed because of his because of the way that he's using his E. And yeah, that's just it. Basically what it does is that it gives you a lot of gold and gives the enemy team a lot of gold. And Kha Zix is not the best skating champion. I think because the game goes 45 minutes, the Muramana is okay. But if he just played it better and played the game properly, the game would have been ended at like around 30 minutes at least. Maybe even a little bit before that, but yeah, I would say like around 30 minutes the game should have been over. But it ends up extending because of the failed team fights and losing Baron, fail smiting the Baron, losing Dragon, losing Elder, stuff like that. But yeah, that's basically it. Isolated in Fear, 3 million mastery points Kha Zix player. He has played Kha Zix for many seasons, and the setup that he is doing used to be really good, Q into E evolve, but due to a lot of changes happening over the last 3 or 4 seasons for Kha Zix, this means that Q into E evolve is just no longer the best, and simply going QWE or RWE is a lot better. If he wanted to do the Prowler's Claw, I would recommend for him to just do RWE, but because he's gold plat elo, I would just recommend to do QWE with either Duskblade or Eclipse instead. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like, and if you have any comments on the build or what I recommend on Kha Zix, then leave it in the comment section down below. And if you wanna not miss out on future videos, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel here, and then I hope to see you guys in my next YouTube video or on my next live stream on Twitch. So thank you for watching, and see you guys.